In this video, I'm sharing 6 red flags that prove something was written by AI and how to fix them. There is obviously the M dash, the Oxford commas, and the it's not this, it's that sort of structure. But these things have been said a million times before, so I'm not going to mention them here. I'm going to give you some other very obvious giveaways that show that something was definitely written by AI. And I've spent 12 years working in editorial and content design roles in the corporate world. So when I see AI generated content that wasn't touched by a human, I can smell it. And I can tell you a lot of the time it's to do with rhythm. So that's the first thing we're going to look at: sentence length and rhythm. And I actually asked AI what it thinks about this topic, and it gave me the wrong answer. So here's what it gave me. It said AI is incredibly predictable with its rhythm. If you look closely at a paragraph written by AI, you'll notice a pattern. Almost every sentence is roughly the same length, usually between 12 and 15 words. It goes sentence, sentence, sentence. It reads like a monotonous drumbeat. Human beings don't write like that. We write a long descriptive sentence to explain a big idea, then we follow it up with a short one, like this. It creates energy. So first, it told me it writes with sentences of the same length, and then it did the opposite. It actually demonstrated in practice what AI writing looks like. It mixes up sentence length in ways that human writers don't normally do. I'm going to call this problem frequent punchlines. Long sentences intertwined with short sentences. That's exactly what AI writing is. In fact, before AI came along, most writers didn't write like that. And based on my 12 years of editorial experience, I would put writers in 2 different buckets: trained and untrained. Untrained writers tend to write how they were taught at school and in college. Complex vocabulary, convoluted sentence structure. They make it sound clever to make it good. It doesn't always read well, but it definitely reads human. The second bucket is trained writers. And a lot of trained writers who come from the content design world write how they speak. Simple sentences, conversational tone. It's not complex, it doesn't sound overly clever, but it has a soul. So the second type of writing I've just mentioned is what I would recommend you do when reviewing AI generated content to fix the frequent punchline problem. You can read each small section like a paragraph and try to put it in other words in the same way as you would explain something to a friend if you're just chatting at a pub over a drink. Ask yourself, is this how I speak? And try to write the way you speak. So often that involves making the writing a bit more clumsy, like you're talking to a child or a friend who doesn't know much about what you're talking about. You can also add anecdotes that make it sound a bit silly. The next red flag is overpromising and hype. So when you write with AI, it tends to want to make your topic sound like the best thing in the world. So it uses a lot of words like groundbreaking, revolutionizing, game-changing, unveiling the secrets. These are all very AI phrases. And unless you've cured a disease, you probably should avoid using that sort of language. So the best way to fix this problem is to give the AI a persona, but not just any random one. So if you tell it to write a piece of writing, like it's a product manager, it will probably write a piece of marketing copy that promotes and really overhypes the thing you're talking about. Instead, specify in your persona prompt what this person is like. So you can say something like, you are a practical, no-nonsense project manager. Write a realistic update for the team. Avoid hype and buzzwords. So keeping it grounded in this way makes the writing more down to earth and more believable. You can also refine it even further at the end to humanize it a bit more by adding everyday vocabulary. For example, this was actually the best thing ever, or the project we're working on is really important. Our new way of working completely changed everything for our team. And I haven't used any of those big words like revolutionizing or groundbreaking. The next red flag is zero substance. And this is just so common all over the internet at the moment. So there's no personal stories, there's no depth, there's no anecdotes, no analogies. And this is exactly what people mean when they use the term AI slop. It's just flat. There is no depth to it. So what you can do is, before you write your prompt when creating content with AI, you can inject some of your own data into it, some of your own anecdotes and stories and analogies that are personal to you. So you can say something like this: I want to write a post about time management. Here is a quick story of what happened to me this morning. And then you just describe the story in your own words. Now write the post and weave this specific story into the introduction. So you've instantly made it more human by adding a little bit of depth. Related to this is another red flag: the perfect and very boring conclusion, like this. Ultimately, by embracing these tools, we can pave the way for a brighter future. How exciting, right? The thing about AI is it really hates leaving an open ending. It really likes to wrap things up. So it loves words like ultimately, in summary, in today's fast-paced digital landscape. These are very AI words. And this is usually followed by a sweeping, overly dramatic statement about the future. But real people don't talk like that. It just sounds bizarre. So the best way to do it when generating content, just delete the final paragraph. You just don't want it there. Just replace it with some kind of call to action or a question. For example, which one of these steps are you going to try next? Or let me know what you think. The next red flag is what I call passive and safe phrasing. Because AI is trained to be quite objective and not offensive, it avoids taking strong stances on things. So it really relies on passive statements, like it is important to consider, or it can be argued that, or steps should be taken. These are all very passive phrases. So the best way to fix it is to just change it into more active sentences. Instead of saying it is recommended that the team updates their software, you can just say you should update your software. You can also use a prompt like this. Rewrite this in the active voice. Be direct, authoritative, and opinionated. And the final red flag is unnatural alliteration and rhyming titles. AI has a massive bias towards really cheesy alliteration, like maximize your momentum, the power of productivity. It repeats the same sound at the start of each word to create a little effect, but it really overdoes it, and things written this way just sound like cheesy marketing slogans. So again, I'm going to go back to my previous tip, which is about writing how you speak. It's all about simplicity and clarity, and because we communicate in a very clear and simple way when we talk to each other, why wouldn't we do that when writing? I hope you found these useful. Make sure you download your AI prompt starter guide from the video description and check out my courses, which I have also linked down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!